Respect is a fundamental pillar of any relationship, whether it's personal, social, or professional. When someone disrespects you, it can feel like an attack on your dignity, leaving you frustrated, hurt, and sometimes unsure of how to respond. Handling such situations effectively is crucial for preserving your self-esteem and maintaining healthy relationships. However, this requires a balanced approach, one that asserts your boundaries while avoiding unnecessary conflicts. Dealing with disrespect is something everyone will experience at some point. Understanding how to respond to these situations can help preserve your integrity, your peace of mind, and ensure that your relationships stay healthy. The core of this lies in recognizing your emotional triggers and understanding how to navigate challenging situations with poise and strength. It also involves recognizing that while we can't control others' behavior, we do have control over our reactions. One of the most vital steps when dealing with disrespect is to set and enforce clear boundaries. Many people cross boundaries simply because they're unaware of them. Others, however, may do so intentionally, testing how far they can push you. It is your responsibility to define what behavior you find acceptable and what crosses the line. Reflect on your values and identify the actions or words that trigger discomfort or frustration. It's important to recognize that boundaries aren't just about saying no. Boundaries are an essential part of self-care. They help you define what is acceptable and what isn't, thus protecting your mental and emotional well-being. Without boundaries, it's easy to become overwhelmed by others' expectations, leading to burnout, frustration, and resentment. To define your boundaries, take time to reflect on past interactions. Were there moments when you felt disrespected or hurt? Consider why those instances affected you. Perhaps a colleague undermined your ideas during a meeting, or a friend made jokes at your expense. Understanding these moments can help you establish specific boundaries to avoid these situations in the future. For instance, you may decide to be upfront about not tolerating sarcasm or negative humor at your expense. Being clear about what you expect from others will help you avoid misunderstandings and set the stage for healthier interactions. Once you know your limits, communicate them clearly. For instance, if a coworker often interrupts you in meetings, you might say, "I'd appreciate it if you allowed me to finish speaking before sharing your thoughts." The way you communicate your boundaries matters as much as the boundaries themselves. Use a calm, firm, and respectful tone to avoid escalating the situation. Consistency is key when enforcing boundaries. If you establish a limit but allow others to cross it without consequence, you undermine your own authority. Imagine setting a rule that you won't accept personal insults but laughing off a derogatory comment. This inconsistency sends mixed signals, weakening the impact of your boundaries. Many people struggle with enforcing their boundaries because they fear conflict or rejection. This fear can stem from past experiences or the desire to be liked or accepted. However, it's essential to remember that your boundaries are not negotiable. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and that starts with respecting your own limits. By holding firm, you teach others how to treat you. There may be instances when setting boundaries leads to pushback. Some individuals might attempt to guilt-trip you, label you as overly sensitive, or dismiss your feelings. In such cases, remind yourself that your boundaries are about protecting your emotional and mental health, not about controlling others. People who genuinely respect you will honor your limits, while those who don't are showing their true colors. Another critical aspect of handling disrespect is maintaining composure. When someone disrespects you, it's natural to feel anger, hurt, or frustration. However, reacting impulsively can often worsen the situation. It's important to develop the ability to pause and assess the situation before responding. Emotional regulation is an essential skill in any conflict, and the ability to stay calm under pressure will help you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting out of anger or frustration. One technique to stay composed is deep breathing. When faced with disrespect, take a moment to inhale deeply and exhale slowly. This simple act can help calm your nervous system and prevent you from reacting emotionally. Another effective strategy is to mentally distance yourself from the situation. Remind yourself that the disrespectful behavior reflects more on the other person than on you. Think of it as an emotional shield, The other person may be experiencing their own struggles, but their behavior doesn't have to dictate how you feel. If someone insults you or tries to provoke you, remind yourself that this is about them, not you. You don't have to internalize their negativity. For example, if someone criticizes you unfairly in a group setting, instead of retaliating with a heated comment, you might respond calmly with, "I hear your feedback, but I'd prefer to discuss this privately to avoid misunderstandings." This approach not only protects your dignity, but also shifts the focus back to constructive dialogue. Taking the high road will also earn you respect from others who may be observing the interaction. Sometimes it's helpful to detach emotionally from the situation. Rather than reacting, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how can I respond in a way that preserves my self-respect and prevents further conflict? Detaching from the situation helps you make decisions based on reason rather than emotion. It's also helpful to choose your battles wisely. Not every instance of disrespect requires a direct confrontation. Sometimes, it's better to let minor issues slide, especially if they don't affect you deeply or if addressing them would create unnecessary tension. Save your energy for situations that genuinely matter and warrant a response. This doesn't mean that you should tolerate disrespect over the long term, but rather that you understand that some situations are not worth your emotional energy. For example, if a stranger cuts in front of you in line, it may not be worth confronting them, especially if the moment is fleeting and won't impact you significantly. Choosing when to engage and when to walk away is a key part of emotional intelligence. Leading by example is another powerful way to handle disrespect. People often mirror the behavior they observe, so demonstrating respect, even in difficult situations, can encourage others to follow suit. Treat others with kindness, patience, and understanding, even when they are being challenging. For instance, if a colleague speaks to you in a condescending tone, resist the urge to respond in kind. Instead, address the situation calmly by saying, "I'd like us to communicate respectfully so that we can work together effectively." This not only de-escalates the tension, but also sets a standard for future interactions. Leading by example doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It's about showing others how to navigate conflicts with dignity and respect. In professional settings, this approach can contribute to a healthier workplace culture, inspiring others to adopt similar behaviors. Even in personal relationships, being a role model for respectful communication can positively influence those around you. Despite your best efforts, there will be instances when people continue to disrespect you. In such cases, it's important to evaluate the relationship and consider whether it's worth maintaining. Ask yourself whether the person's behavior aligns with your values and whether their presence in your life adds positivity or negativity. For example, if a friend consistently belittles your achievements or undermines your confidence, consider whether they truly have your best interests at heart. Letting go of such relationships can be difficult, especially if there's a history of closeness, but prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being is essential. Ending toxic relationships doesn't always mean cutting ties abruptly. Sometimes it's about creating distance or reducing the frequency of interactions. In other cases, a direct conversation may be necessary to explain why the relationship is no longer healthy for you. While this process can be emotionally challenging, it often leads to a more fulfilling life surrounded by supportive and respectful individuals. For example, if a family member constantly disrespects your boundaries, you might start limiting the time you spend with them or setting stricter limits on what topics are acceptable to discuss. In professional contexts, reevaluating relationships might involve seeking new opportunities, transferring to a different team, or addressing the issue with a supervisor. For example, if a manager consistently disrespects your contributions, consider documenting specific incidents and discussing them with HR or a trusted mentor. Taking proactive steps can help you protect your rights and foster a more respectful work environment. Seeking support is another crucial component of handling disrespect. Dealing with such situations alone can feel isolating and overwhelming, especially if the behavior is persistent or severe. Sharing your experiences with trusted friends, family members, or mentors can provide valuable perspective and emotional relief. Sometimes, Simply talking to someone who understands your situation can help you process your feelings and gain clarity. They might offer practical advice or suggest solutions you hadn't considered. For instance, if you're dealing with a difficult coworker, a mentor could provide strategies for navigating workplace dynamics effectively. In more serious cases, seeking professional help may be necessary. A therapist or counselor can help you develop coping mechanisms, build self-esteem, and navigate complex relationships. If the disrespect involves harassment, discrimination, or other serious issues, consulting legal or organizational resources can also be a vital step. It's important to recognize that seeking support is not a sign of weakness, but an act of self-care. Everyone deserves to feel respected and valued, and reaching out for help is a proactive way to address the issue. Lastly, remember that self-respect is the foundation of how others treat you. The way you carry yourself, speak, and respond to others sets the tone for how they perceive and interact with you. Cultivating self-respect involves recognizing your worth, setting standards for how you expect to be treated, and not compromising those standards for anyone. Incorporating self-respect into your daily life means making decisions based on your values and beliefs, rather than on the opinions or actions of others. By doing this, you create a clear framework for understanding how you expect to be treated, and your behavior will reflect that. The more you demonstrate that you value yourself, the more likely others will follow suit. Handling people who don't respect you is not about changing them. It's about managing how you respond and ensuring that you maintain your dignity and peace of mind. By setting boundaries, staying composed, modeling respectful behavior, evaluating relationships, seeking support, and cultivating self-respect, you can navigate these challenges effectively. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon for more videos on philosophy and self-improvement. And hey, share this video with someone who might need a little calm in their chaos. Until next time, stay strong and stay stoic.